All right, so you've been talking through what you think each of these is equivalent to, and you have, hopefully, you have reasons behind that. Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so how about number one? What do you think the integral from a to a would equal? 0. Okay. Why do you think it equals 0?
Because f of a minus f of a will just cancel each other out.
That's exactly right. That's good. F of a minus f of a, they're just going to cancel each other out. All right, how about number 2?
We weren't too sure about that one, but we put it can equal C.
You can equal C?
Which, I mean, from that right there, it's saying C could be anything between A and B.
Right.
So
F of b minus f of a equals c.
Okay, you're close. And this one's kind of confusing, but what they're actually wanting you to do is to split this up from A to C, f of x dx, then add that from C to B. So C is some point between, and so you split it up into 2 parts. All right, if from A to B equals K, then what's from B to A going to equal?
You put negative
You put the right answer. Good job. All right. So on number 4, if B is less than A, then from A to B would equal, does anybody know this one? It kind of goes along with this one.
we put the B less than 0.
It is. It's going to, well, it might not be less than 0. It's going to be a negative of B to A, f of x dx. So when you say less than 0, it's going to be a negative.
Yeah.
But I'm going to switch and put my bigger number up here. Because remember, A is the bigger number on this problem. If K is a constant, think about your constant rules on derivatives. What about this one? It's K times the integral B Okay, what about this one? Remember how we can split up derivatives? We can do the same thing. We can say, all right, that's A to B, f of x dx, either plus or minus, whatever operation's in the middle, of the integral of A to B, g of x dx.
Makes sense.
Yeah. On number 7, these two, well, this one is a little bit easier, but I don't even know how they just expect you to just come up with this. Like, oh, that's what it means. Anyway, so remember, if it's an even function, just remember that means it has y-axis symmetry. Okay, remember that? So that means, like, if you have negative a here, you're going to have like a positive a here. And these two are equal. So your integral from negative a to a would be equal to 2 times the integral from 0 to a of f of x dx, because it's two equal areas. Or, I guess you could go the other way. It could be 2 times the integral from negative a up to 0 f of x dx. And then if it's odd, well, what's going to happen if it's odd? If I have negative a here, and I have positive a here, what's going to happen with those two areas?
They're just gonna cancel each other.
Right, it's going to be 0. Yeah. Remember, odd functions have symmetry at the origin. Don't forget that. It's kind of important to know. Alright, so these are the properties of definite integrals that you need to know. Some of them are going to stick with you because you figured them out, and some of them, like, you just have to be told what they are, and that's not a bad thing for you. You have to be told. Okay, so let's look at this page. Let's try to determine the value of each of these integrals using properties. And we have these two. Oh, my word. Okay. Alright, so this is from 0 to 3. This is from 3 to 0. So I know 0 to 3 equals 6. So 3 to 0 equals what? Negative 6, right. Because, I'm going to write this out just so we can kind of bring it home here. 0, that's going to be the negative of 0 to 3 f of x dx. So that's going to be negative 6. Right. Okay, so I would like to know the entire thing from 0 to 7. Well, I've got from 0 to 3 here and 3 to 7 here. So how could I find out all the way from 0 to 7? This is that one with C.
Add them together.
Yeah, this is equal to the integral from 0 to 3 of f of x dx plus the integral from 3 to 7 of f of x dx. And so this one is 6, and that one is what? Negative 8. So that's going to be negative 2. How about this one? 0, right. Because f of 3 minus f of 3 is equal to 0. We've got a couple going on right here. From 7 to 3 of 3 times f of x dx.
So you would do a negative 3.
Why negative 3?
Because you got to swap the two values because the lesser one.
Okay, let me do that in 2 different steps just for people who are having to watch. So first we've got to switch our endpoints here, 3 to 7, 3 f of x dx, and then we're going to take that 3 out. Negative 3 times the integral from 3 to 7 of f of x dx. And what is that? Negative 8. So I have negative 3 times negative 8, which is 24. All right. Are we ready for this one? Okay, so this one is 3 to 7 for 2 plus 3 f of x dx. Alright, so I'm going to have to combine a couple of them on this one too. This is basically the integral from 3 to 7 of 2 dx plus the integral from 3 to 7 of 3 f of x dx. Now, this one, I don't know. I have to figure this one out. So, remember, this becomes 2x from 3 to 7 plus, now this one I know, that's 3 times negative 8. Does everyone know how I got from here to here? How did I get from here to here? What's that called?
You just added the.
Right, I just took the integral. I added the x divided by the power, which the power was 1, so it didn't change anything. So this side I had to take an integral. This side I don't have to because they told me what the integral equals. And they told me that there's some f of x. I don't know anything about f of x. I'm going to in just a second, but I don't right now. But I know that that equals negative 8. So it's just 3 times negative 8. Now this one I have to do. Do you remember what you have to do to this side? 2 times 7 minus 2 times 3. This is your f of a, or f of b minus f of a that we just did up there. Okay, so that's going on right there. And then, do you want to go ahead and multiply that out? What is that, negative 24? Alright, so I've got 14 minus 6 minus 24, which is a negative 16. That's my answer. Alright, on this one I'm going from negative 3 to 3. I only have 0 to 3. But they tell me that it's an even function. So that means it's going to be 2 times whatever 0 to 3 is, f of x dx, which is what, 2 times 6? So it's 12. And here, negative 3 to 3, if it's an odd function, what does it equal?
0.
It equals 0, right. 0. Alright, so now we have a graph. Let's see if we can do graph stuff. What's the value of... Now, is it still using the previous side at all? Because they said f of x again, but it's not, is it? No, okay. What's the value of the integral from 0 to 3 of f of x dx? Okay. What are we going to do here? From 0 to 3 of f of x dx. I know. Anybody have an idea?
Is it just as simple as finding the points?
Yeah, because that's a trapezoid and then.
It's a trapezoid.
Circle.
And a fourth of a circle. That's, yeah. Yeah. So you've got what? 1/4 times pi times, what's your radius? 2? 2 squared plus, now that formula for a trapezoid. So you've got 1/2 times your height. Well, your height is just 1. Times your 2 bases added together. So that's 2 and 3. Remember, your bases on a trapezoid are the sides that are parallel to each other. Okay, just remember that. Alright, so let's see, that's just pi. 1/2 of 5 is 5/2. And we're done. We're not doing anything else to that. Alright, how about from 0 to 4. All right.
Can you just use what you just found
Yes.
and then
And
just
then
add
add
all
that
that
little
little
thing.
triangle?
Yes. Well, we're going to add it,
Subtract it.
subtract it.
It's negative.
It's negative, right? Exactly. Okay, I'm going to let you do that, and then, well, I guess I need to do it. So we're splitting it up from 0 to 3, f of x dx, because we just found that, right? And then, which number is this? Isn't this a number 2? This is number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to go from 3 to 4. Right. And then we've already found that this one is pi plus 5 halves. And what's the other one? What's this tiny little triangle on the end?
And this would be
It's 1/2. So 5 halves minus 1/2 is 2. All right, what about this one? Are we ready for this one, or are y'all still writing? Okay, what about this one?
You just multiply that first one times 2.
Right, because f of x is an even function. So f of x is, remember, an even function has symmetry. So got that symmetry. So I can just say 2 times the integral from 0 to 3 of f of x dx. And we found that to be pi, 2 times pi plus 5 over 2. So what are we looking at? 2 pi plus 5? All right. Last 2. Let's look at this one. If f of 0 equals 5, what is the value of f of 3, where f is the antiderivative of f of x? Okay, so we're going from 0 to 3, f of x dx. Remember from your formula, that equals f of 3 minus f of 0. Now we know what this equals. What does this equal? What does this equal? We found it in the very first one.
Oh, pi plus 5.
Pi plus 5 halves. And then, I don't know what f of 3 is, but I know that f of 0 is 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Is that 15 halves?
15.
Okay, so pi plus 15 halves equals f of 3. That's my answer. All right, let's try this one. If f of negative 2 equals negative 2, what's the value of f of 2, where f is the antiderivative of f of x? All right, so this time we're going from negative 2 to 2. F of x dx, and that has to equal f of 2 minus f of negative 2.
So do we have to find something?
Yeah, we're going to have to find this one. Let's see. But that's not, we can just double, right? We can just do 2 of 0 to 2, right? Okay. So that's what? 1/4 pi times 2 squared plus that little rectangle part, 2 by 1. I ran out of room. Okay, that's a lot of 2's happening there. So that's pi plus 2 times 2. So we're looking at what? 2 pi plus 4? Equals f of 2 minus negative 2. And I just swapped this out right here. I really don't like double signs. I'm going to write it again. I don't like double signs. You're smart enough. You don't really have to struggle with that. I don't like double signs. Subtract 2. Subtract 2. 2 pi plus 2 equals f of 2. Oh my gosh, is that it? We just finished in like record time.
That wasn't that bad.
That wasn't bad at all. Yeah. Alright, so you've got day 50 homework, right?
Yeah.
Let me just look and see what's going on here. So day 50's homework. So tomorrow we'll go over the homework and we'll practice those those free responses. And then Friday we'll have quiz 10. Sound good? All right. That's the plan, Stan. Friday quiz 10.